So I did my due diligence about Nintendo's new community guidelines. I both watched the video from Moon Channel, who is a lawyer who went over the community guidelines, and asked a lawyer friend of my own what they think about the community guidelines to get a little bit of insight on why they're doing it. And this is what I got from both sources. This is a way for Nintendo to have plausible deniability. Nintendo basically has the most powerful and well-known IP in the video game world. They will enforce these guidelines at their discretion. And what that allows them to do is distance themselves from anything that they don't think is on brand. And that's why a lot of the stipulations feel so draconian. Why can't you sell food at a Nintendo event? Well, let's say someone gets sick. Nintendo doesn't want people complaining to them saying, your event made my son get sick. Why can't people use third-party controllers? Well, Nintendo doesn't want someone bringing a Smash box with like hentai on it and having an angry parent complain to them. Why can't you be running a tournament for profit? Well, think about a situation in which you get a whole bunch of entry fees together and then you just take the money and run. And then people complain to Nintendo about it. In short, Nintendo's community guidelines make sure that Nintendo is never on the hook for the dumb shit that you do. Now, will they always enforce these guidelines? Probably not. In fact, one of the main things that both sources said is that it is nearly impossible to enforce these guidelines for every single event. That would just take too much money and too much manpower. But this does allow Nintendo to step in and strike down tournaments that they do not approve of. This actually isn't all that strange because companies like Capcom and Sony and Microsoft have similar community guidelines. They're just not quite as draconian. But they too have stuff like limits about attendees or limits about prizes you could give out. The reason why Nintendo's are so strict is because their IP is more valuable. Let's actually use Sega for an example. Sega does not actually protect their IP that much, and they're proud of it. And as a result, there's essentially this meme going around about Sonic porn and Sonic OCs and Sonic Mpreg and stuff like that. And that does turn people away from the Sonic brand. But Sega has said, you know what? It's worth it for all the fan stuff that gets created. Sonic is just not as valuable an IP as Mario. And in fact, if that same meme was going around about Mario, that would not be great for Nintendo. Like when the whole Bowsette thing happened, Nintendo hated that. And it was pretty tame as far as what the internet can do with someone's intellectual property. And it's that simple. Nintendo's IPs are worth more, so they protect them more. Does this justify what they're doing? I would say not. And again, speaking with the lawyer I know, who assures me that this was not legal advice and only for entertainment value, he does think that they are going a little overboard, but they are within their legal rights to do so, and it has always been Nintendo's policy to be more safe than sorry, to be more safe about their IPs than prioritize their community. Do I think they should be that way? Personally, no. I think that they should reach out to their community more. But to be fair, there have been multiple scandals in the Smash community, in the Splatoon community, and Nintendo won't pull these guidelines back until those communities show that they can be responsible with their IP. Especially Smash, because that represents multiple IPs from multiple different game companies. And I'm talking about baseline stuff, like that one time when 2 Bayonettas charged and did nothing in the finals of EVO. That was a publicity nightmare for Nintendo. We thought it was dumb or stupid or funny or whatever, but that shit was unprofessional, and Nintendo wants you to act professional. And if Nintendo is flipping their lid over that, they're gonna really flip their lid over, all the other much worse scandals in the Smash community. You know what I'm talking about. The way that other companies have handled this is they've started interacting with their community a lot more once they show that their community can hold themselves to a professional standard. This is part of the reason that there are now paid commentators that are held responsible for what they say at events like EVO. This is why larger events now have no tolerance policies. So, are you right to be angry at Nintendo? Sure. But the end lesson from all this is, if you want Nintendo to play ball, you need to play ball as well. And a lot of the responses that people are having about just blatantly disregarding their community guidelines, again, they won't enforce them all the time. But if you do it flagrantly enough, like in a way that damages their brand, they're probably going to bring down the hammer on you. If you don't do anything damaging to their brand, they're not going to care. It's just a waste of time and money to go after you. So I think the end lesson from this is don't do anything stupid, and then you can play your melee.